And now it's time for A Wealth of Wisdom.
Michael Poynton on stage at the Paris studio in London's West End, introducing the man who's made the world laugh for 40 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Norman Wisdom. Norman, your first big success came in 1948. You'd starved and struggled for a couple of years, and then you came into the London casino, and the papers said, "A star is born." How did that affect your life?
Marvellous. I had new socks and shoes. No, it was wonderful because, I hadn't had much work before that, really. I used to work for 1 week and then have 3 weeks out and the loot's all gone.
Yeah.
But from that time on, I had wonderful offers coming in with good money and that sort of thing, and I had a smashing agent, Billy Marsh, but he wouldn't let me take these offers. He said, no, you haven't been in the business long enough yet. And so he accepted an offer which was wonderful at the Spa Theatre, Scarborough, for the summer season, and there was a conjurer on the bill who was having a bit of a job finding the material. So he said, hey, will you go down into the audience, and when I invite someone up to help me with the tricks, will you come up? I went out and I bought a little tight-fitting grey suit for 30 bob and a cap for a shilling, and then he invited me up on stage, and it was such a smash hit, we were booked at the London Casino again as a double act.
Well, we've got a bit of you doing that act in Henry Hall's guest night from that period. Shall we hear it?
You want to know who it was?
Well, you can tell us afterwards, or they can guess, perhaps.
All right, then. We'll see if you can guess who this was.
Yeah.
I was a porter at the hotel, you see, and then one day we got a honeymoon couple staying with us.
Yeah.
Well, they were very shy. So they gave me 5 shillings if I didn't tell people they were just married.
Oh, I see. They'd be embarrassed.
Yes. Well, all the week, people in the hotel kept on pointing at them and staring every time they passed. And at the end of the week, the man came to me and he said, I thought you said you wouldn't tell anybody we were just married.
Well, you shouldn't have done.
I didn't. I told everybody they were just good friends.
I wonder if anyone recognised the partner you were working with there.
That's right.
Ah, good.
David Nixon, dear old Dad. What a lovely, marvellous fellow he was. Taller than me. But he was yes, and balder, but he was a smashing bloke. we wanted to be separate acts, and so we separated, but we became very good friends.
After that, Norman, you did a West End show called Sauce Piquante, which I gather wasn't a happy experience. And then you decided to try your luck in the States.
I thought, well, that's it. I won't get another chance in the West End for years and years and years. So with my meagre savings, I went off to America. I didn't know any agents there. I didn't know anybody in America. I couldn't get anything. I even did a hidden talent competition without an orchestra. I mean, it's terrible. There's a bloke sitting there playing a mouth organ. But I was sitting in a cafe and watching television, and suddenly I saw a show called Ed Sullivan's Toast of the Town on television. It seemed to be an international show, so I thought to myself, well, I'll have a go at that, or I'd like to get on that. So I found out where Ed Sullivan lived, which was the Delmonico Hotel, Park Avenue. Oh, cheeky little swine. So I went to the Delmonico Hotel, and I found out his room number, as though I was a guest or something, and went up and I knocked on the door, and a fella came out, and I said, I have an appointment with Mr. Sullivan. And he said, well, won't you come in? So I went into the hall, about 10 foot square, and I waited there for about 6 or 7 minutes, and Ed Sullivan came out in a dressing gown and said, yeah, I didn't know I had an appointment. I said, well, you haven't really. I said, I'm what you call gate crashing, but I said, I'm an English comedian and I'm looking for work over here. And he sat in a chair in the corner of this 10-foot square in the little hall, and he said, show me what you do. And I thought, well, I mean, if you try to do a fall, you smash your head on the wall. But I'd smash my head anything for the work that day. And I sang and I told some jokes and things like that, and after 6 or 7 minutes he stood up and he said, I'm sorry, Mr. What did you say? And I was, I'm sorry, but I admire your initiative, but I don't do that sort of thing on my show. Thank you very much. And I said, well, at least you've spoken to me. Thank you for being a gentleman. And I left. And I went home. Fortunately, I had a return ticket because I was skin tight. And I came back and I went in. Shall I carry on? You were going to say?
Yes, I was just going to say, then when you got back to Britain, you went into panto, didn't you?
That's right, Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
Wolverhampton, Robinson Crusoe. I played the part of Billy Crusoe, but they called me Norman Crusoe. And whilst I was doing that, there's some Henry Hall and Claude Langdon came up to see me because I'm known as a visual performer, and they came up to watch the show. And they saw the first half and came round to the dressing room after the first half and said, Norman, we think you're very visual and very funny, and we're doing an ice show at the Empress Hall, Hurst. It's all gone now, there's a block of offices there. But doing an ice show at the Empress Hall, and would you be interested? And I said, oh, yes. And he said, can you skate? And I said, cool, can I skate? Of course I can. So, anyway, they were going to meet me in about 3 or 4 weeks' time when the panto finished. So I used to go into Birmingham every day, practicing skating. So that when eventually I got notice that they wanted to see me at the Empress Hall, I was able to go along, and then they said, we'd like to see you skate, so I went round skating, you know. And not too bad, so that I was able to go over and say, I haven't done it for a long time, but I'll soon pick it up. You know.
Well, we're really leading you back to America again after this, aren't we, Norman? Is that the direction you're going in?
Oh, yes, because in that same ice show, I was asked by Lou Grade. I went to him and he said, I was in and watching the show last night, and Norman, it was very good, very good. I said, well, thank you very much. And he said, actually, I had a friend with me from America, and he'd admire your show, and he'd like you to do a show for you in America. I said, oh, that's fine. Who was it? He said, Mr. Ed Sullivan. Really true, Ed Sullivan. And I said, well, he's going to have to pay £2,000. Mind you, that's a long time ago. I never dreamed I would a call. I thought, well, if he's turned me down, this time he'll pay. And he did. To my surprise, Lou Grade said, you must be mad. And I said, well, I know that already, so... but I went to America and did the show, and then he came round and he said, Norman, that was marvellous, or something similar to that. And I said, you don't remember me? He said, no. He said, there's funny you should say, there's a little tinkle goes in my head every time And I said, well, I came and did an audition in the hall at your hotel, the Demolica. And he said, well, I can't tell you what he said. But from then on, we became good friends. In fact, I did 2 or 3 shows for him after that in America.
And that was when you first got involved with the film business, when you were over there, wasn't it, Norman?
That's right. And well, then having done that, my agent came over, Billy Marsh. When we got back to the hotel that night after the Ed Sullivan show, there was a message that would we report to the Paramount office in New York on the Monday morning at 11 o'clock. So that was exciting, terribly exciting. So we were there at about 10 to 11, and at about 7 minutes past, Billy says to me, come on, let's go. I said, what for? People waiting. He said, no. He said, look, it was too important to hang around waiting. And we left. I said, well, you must be mad. He said, no, when we get back to the hotel, there'll be messages for us to go back, and then they'll apologise. So we got to the hotel, and true enough, there was messages for us to go back, and so we phoned up, and Billy said, yes. They said, well, can you come back? And he said, well, not, can you come back in the morning? He said, no, we haven't got any time free until Thursday. And we didn't have anything to do. But it's called bull, you know. We went back at about 2 or 3 minutes to 11 on the Thursday morning, and at 11 o'clock dead on, we went into that office. And we go in to see a gentleman called Mr. Littlejohn, who was the big governor at the Paramount studio. We went into an office about the size of the Albert Hall, and there's a chair on the left of his desk and a chair on the right. And he said to me, he indicated the chair on the left to me, and he said, won't you sit down? And I did, and he indicated to Billy Marsh the chair on the right. Won't you sit down? And then he sat down to his head. He looked at Billy Marsh and he said, "We think you're a very funny man." And then he looked at me and I said, "My artist is going to be very expensive." Now, during the interview with this fellow, Mr. Littlejohn, when he discovered who we were, he said to me something like, "Now, Mr. Wisdom, if we did want you for a film, you would, in no circumstances at all, you wouldn't say no, would you?" And I said, "Oh, no, definitely not. Oh, no." Oh, he said, "Gee, that's great." And so then we were able to cable various press people and say that Norman Wisdom said no to films in Hollywood. It's true. I had, you see. And on that publicity, I was then told by Bernie Delfont, Lord Delfont, smashing bloke, I was invited back with Billy, and we toured back, and I was put into the Prince of Wales Theatre in a show called Paris to Piccadilly, which ran for 18 months, starring.
Smashing. Well, Norman, that was the time your film career started, which we want to hear about next week. Let's close today with a song from your second picture, which sums up your life at that point. It's called Take a Step in the Right Direction.
Oh,
how's that?
Oh, one of my favourites. Thanks.
Take a step in the right direction. Turn your eyes to the skies of blue. If a signpost should say you'll be happy that way, that's the way for you. Take a step in the right direction. Walk along with a song or two. Give a smile to the sun and you'll find that it's fun, for the sun will smile back at you. Just wear a rainbow in your hair and sunbeams in your eyes. Find a million dreams to share, and you'll grow up healthy, wealthy and wise. You will make every day perfection if you try to be good and true. Take a step in the right direction, and the whole world will belong to you. Take a step in the right direction. Walk along with a song or two. Give a smile to the sun and you'll find that it's fun, for the sun will smile back at you. Just wear a rainbow in your hair and sunbeams in your eyes. Find a million dreams to share, and you'll grow up healthy, wealthy and wise. You will make every day perfection if you try to be good and true. Take a step in the right direction, and the whole world will belong to you.
Norman Wisdom has been dispensing a wealth of wisdom in conversation with Michael Poynton, who also researched the programme. A Wealth of Wisdom is produced by Edward Taylor.